Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive! This week, I continue my 5-part series on Exalted 3rd Edition by talking about the area surrounding the realm, the frontier region, if you will, called the Threshold. This is the area where the last holdouts against the authority of the Scarlet Empress live. The last standing remnants of the shogunate which ruled the area before the realm came into being, before the Great Contagion. And this is also the area where the returning solar and lunar Exalted will exalt. So with that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy as I talk about the Threshold. The north is where we will start our journey around the Threshold. The southern portions of the area called the north are a temperate pine scrub forest wilderness. As you go further north, of course it gets colder until you reach the far north, which is just pockets of people around volcanic vents or in clusters of igloos and similar. It is cold and totally inhospitable, and people rarely go far from the comfort of where they live due to the dangers that live out there. Giants with brine for blood, or giant insects made of ice, as well as servants of one of the Death Lords called the Lover clad in the raiment of tears. These are the things in the far north that keep people in their communities. When you look at the north, though, there's a couple notable locations. Well, there's more than a couple, but there's a couple I'm going to talk about. In the near north, shining like a jewel in the harsh environment, is the port city of Numa. This city is heavily invested in the Immaculate Order, and it does swear fealty to the realm. The port city of Numa has a rumored prison under its big central keep. This prison is exclusively for captured Solar Exalted. It is here that they are tortured and interrogated to find out more before they are shipped to the realm for execution. The Wild Hunt rides out regularly from the city of Numa. But even it doesn't go into the far north like it would have. And to the far north, there is the city of Tusk. While there are other more notable cities in the north, Tusk is part of a loose coalition of city-states called the Exalted League. And it is built around the ruins of a fallen flying first age city, Bagrash Kol. The Exalted League goes seeking through the remains of the fallen cities of the First Age for sorceries. And as such, they have many sorceries that are lost to the rest of the realm, to the rest of the world. Some of these might find their way into solar hands. Some just sit there helping the Exalted League protect itself from those who are outside. Tusk joined the Exalted League for the both political and economic protection. With it being part of the Exalted League, it has the political clout to get access to the First Age sorceries. And economic, well, any coalition of city-states helps economies prosper. But now, the East. The East is a land of varied terrain, but because it goes towards the pole of wood, it is a lush, fertile region. There are many ruins of First Age cities throughout the East, leading to the name often given to it being the Scavenger Lands. This is because with so many First Age cities, with such a hospitable, though varied and dangerous climate, people are able to brave these ruins, find relics from the First Age, bring them out for fun and profit. Now, one of the places that makes the most use of these is the bastion against the realm in these lands. Because the East as a whole has managed to, twice now, force the realm to let them be. Yes, there's a single port city in the East. And yes, the Wild Hunt does ride through the East looking for anathema. But the city of Luxi has acted as the rallying point time and time again to stop the realm from imposing its will upon the East. The battles have been fierce and bloody, but to this time, Luxi has held off. It maintains the 7th Legion, the last active army from the shogunate. The city of Luxi itself, its architecture, is built for defense. Structures are fortified. Everything is built with an eye towards protecting the city from attack. But then you head further east, into the area called the Far East. This is an area where the woods have grown strong, because it is close to the pole of wood. And the hunter-gatherer tribes that live here, the people who live in villages or in settlements built around lunar tribes, will come to the borders of the Far East and the Scavenger Lands and trade exotic elements, woods, herbs, weird goods for metal tools and ornaments. And with that, these individuals keep the small tribal societies that they're from going. Of course, these traders from the tribes, they might have a wolf's eyes, or they might have natural green hair. because they are closest to the wild. The Far East is heavily touched by the wild. And with that, let us turn our gaze towards the south. With the south, you start with the fertile, verdant coastlines, where the people, mostly slaves, work the lands. The fruit of their labors going to support the nobles looking down upon their work from gleaming high cities. The major city of Kirigast, which is the capital of the realm satrapy of Harborhead. This, all around here, every citizen is armed to not have a weapon, because it is still a dangerous land, is to be seen and mistaken for a slave. Every citizen of the satrapy of Harborhead is trained from as soon as they are able in combat, forming a vast militia. The primary concern of the realm for Harborhead is the jade, the great jade mines all around. Of course, traders come from all over to Kirigast to trade in cattle, ivory, bronze, slaves, making it a wealthy satrapy. Counter to this is that, yes, it officially proclaims loyalty to the realm, but yet there are undercurrents. It is a satrapy that does not wish to bend knee. And maybe one day it will rise up in a rebellion that it could even succeed in. But until that day, it is under the realm's iron thumb. The opposite end, we have the great port city of Chiaroscuro. This was a gleaming, glass-towered first-age city. And then came the double blow of the usurpation and the Great Contagion. And it lost much of its population. Many districts in it became shadowlands, places where the realm of the dead pushes into the realm of the living. And throughout the area, petty warlords set themselves up. Then came the first of what would be called the monarchs of this area, the Tricons. The first Tricon came in, defeated the petty warlords, sealed the Shadowlands with salt, and swore allegiance to the realm, officially. He then, to encourage people to come into the area, declared 10 years would be tax-free. And this worked. Most of the population in Chiaroscuro now is descended from those who came in during that period. The current Tricon is perhaps very different. He does not really believe the realm has his city's best interests in mind anymore. So he subtly supports other rebellions against the realm. He has allied himself with the massive trade network called the Guild. And with this, he keeps goods coming into the city. Because Chescro is still the greatest port city in the world. He does not want open conflict with the realm yet. So he has officially banned Anathema. Officially banned the Solar Exalted. But if they keep themselves covert, if they don't blatantly advertise what they are, they can live freely in the city. Anything, as long as it doesn't draw attention to itself, is free to move around the city. Anyone that causes disruptions will get hit by the city guard or a visit by the wild hunt. And from the coasts, as you move towards the Pole of Fire, the terrain gets less watered. You start with hot steeps going south, and then through various types of desert, until finally you reach the burning area that is the Pole of Fire. And from the south, we finally look towards the west. The west is a vast ocean. Islands dot all around it. And there is a large archipelago that dominates a huge swath. The islands in this are close enough that even the most primitive vessels can go from island to island. And all around these islands, you see various vessels. Fishing boats staying close to their villages. Various trade boats going between the islands and ports with trade goods. And each island is unique. Each island has its own culture, its own gods, its own peoples. Each island is a separate culture, all its own. Because each island for a time was kept isolated, even though they were so close to each other, due to the Great Contagion and similar events. At the same time, because of how vast the West is, how, while you have this huge swath of an archipelago, you're still dealing with thousands and thousands of miles of ocean. It has never been fully explored or exploited, and opportunities now abound. Things have changed, with the Empress no longer keeping her iron control. The dynastic houses are trying to find new ways, new outlets for what they need, or for what they can get. As such, exploration has come back to the West. The main dynastic city is the city of Wujian. And it is the closest island to the realm. The enclaves for the dynastic houses are walled and heavily defended, because the rest of the island, the rest of the city of Wujian, is slums. Houses and shanties with doors that can only be accessed from the outside, through catwalks or ladders. And because of how diverse the population is, the realm has just decided to not bother trying to police it. So, this is a city where anything can be found in the dark underbelly, because traders will bring anything in. Of course, in a more unique type of city you will find is the Denzik City Ship. It might start, when you look for it, as a dark spot on the horizon. It is a flotilla of hundreds of enormous custom-built sailing junks, lashed together into one single entity. The top deck of each ship is large enough to act as a trading port. And each ship itself is so deep below the top deck that it has space for thousands of people to live, work, manufacture. And it comes into an area. It will trade for things it needs. But it has 10,000 sailors, merchants, artisans, and their families living, working, conducting all the stuff of a city on this one great, floating, moving, seagoing city. And with that, I conclude my whirlwind tour of the Threshold. There is much stuff that I left out. I will admit, I could probably do multiple videos on each of the directions. There is just that much to cover in them. Next week, I will be doing a quick look at all the various types of Exalted, because I realize I kind of have to do a video talking about all of them just to get an idea to people of just how complicated this section of it is. So until then, like you always remember to have fun and keep gaming.